Thick Solo, and I'm just talking here. Just want to talk about my DNA test. Those who don't know, last Black Friday, Ancestry.com had a pretty cheap, good deal on DNA tests. So I don't remember how much I spent. Maybe like 50, 60, 70. I don't remember, but I was very curious on my DNA. Funny part is I know more about my native than my white DNA, so the native DNA amount was not surprised. The white, what I was very surprising. It's like, whoa, you know. Anyway, so let's go with this. Let's start from the very top here. African, it gives me the approximate amount of 6%. It gives it different regions, but it doesn't verify that they are based on what they have there. Then there's native, 35%. And, you know, based on what I know on my family, it's about right. Though I think it should be like 38, but it does give the estimation to be anywhere between 33 to 38, but it's pretty fine with 35, so I'm like, okay, that's about right. Asian, which was surprising for me. I was like surprised. I'm like, Asian from where, you know? And so it gives it 3%. As for European, it says 54, but it only verifies like 40 something. Let's see, it confirms 46, and then it gives another 8% where it's kind of guessing that it's European, and it gives you kind of regions. So that's the one thing with these DNA tests. It's like it verifies certain things, and it's like, well, and then there's other little factors that we don't know. So here's the one thing about European that I was surprised. 22% Italian Greece. Never heard that from my family. My family's always been, oh, we're Spanish. And this is the first time I hear that. And so it's like, huh. And the funny part is Spanish is very little. And I was like, okay, 16%, you know. And then here's another surprise. Great Britain. I don't know how that happened. My assumption, and I have no confirmations, is pirates or American deserters that came to Mexico. Supposedly I have Pacific Islander, but it's less than 1%, and it's not confirmed. And then the other one's West Asian, which it claims is Middle Eastern, and it's less than 1%. So, which is very surprising on some of these DNA tests. But they do, on the DNA test, they do an estimation. They try to give the best results based on what they know. So I'll even show you footage here. Let's see, 5% Native American, then Italian Greece, and then other stuff. And so, yeah, I was surprised on that mostly. You know, I was like, yeah. So when you do the whole ethnicity thing, it's just surprising. But it does estimations, which they say are estimates. And they do multiple tests to verify. That's how they give the numbers they give you. So it says, how is the range calculated? And it says, when we calculate your estimated for each ethnicity region, we run 40 separate analyses. Okay, so they're not playing. They're not doing one time. Like, there you go. So they're very serious about this. It says, each of the 40 analyses give another estimate of your ethnicity, and each one is done with randomly selected portions of your DNA. Why 40? Ethnicities can't even speak right now. Ethnicity estimations can be variable from comparison to comparison. Different combinations of DNA can give us different information. So doing multiple analysis can give us a more accurate estimate as well as likely range. And the example below, we measure an estimate for one person for one ethnicity region. In this chart illustration, that each of the 40 analyses, a slightly different portion of DNA is analysis. So you can see the picture here, where they do test and test and test until they give you a breakdown. So then there's more information. The average estimation. We look at each of the 40 estimates and find that the average amount predicted by each region. This average becomes the percentage that is displayed in the estimate. Our confidence is that your actual genetic ethnicity is exactly the average is not high. So they do all these, so here's the estimates, they do based on tests, and they do the average of your DNA, and they're like, oh, you have highs and you got lows. And so it goes based on that. So it goes based on the average. It's like, oh no, you could be, and if you're kind of doubting it, if you look at your DNA on each strand of ethnicity, like my native, average is 35, lowest was 33%, highest was 38. And I'll show you with my native here, so no one's like, oh, he's not showing it because he's lying. So I'm like 35%, and then the range is between 33 and 38. 35 is the average. So if you do your math, that's pretty average. To me, that's what I like about DNA. It's something no one can take away from you. You know, it's something that all your ancestors did to make you. You know, whether some offsprings throughout your family are good or bad, based on bad incidents in history, that doesn't matter. You have that history in your DNA, and no one can take that away from you. No one can deny that from you. And there's some people who are like, oh, these DNA tests are wrong, and this and that. I'm like, no, okay. Number one, the DNA test I have is the aDNA, which does your genetic makeup. Okay, so what you are determines what you have in you. And so, you know, that's something I don't think they can take away from me, you know. It's like, okay, I have this big background, you know. I'm saying, and aDNA, what it does is also focuses pretty much on the last 300 years, you know, of your family tree. So maybe 400 if you have some people who did not get lucky in a long period of time, but based on average, it's going to be about 300 years of your ancestors. Okay, X and Y goes to 1,000 years, but aDNA goes to the 300, which I think most Mexicans should take. It's pretty much the time estimate of most of everyone becoming mixed or mestizos in the history, and it gives them more an idea of what they are. Some people were like, "Oh, I don't want to take the DNA." I'm like, "Why not?" I'm saying there's no hidden agenda. I'm saying there's people who are like, "Oh, it doesn't show my native," or doesn't show this or that DNA, or my DNA this is too low compared to what I know. I'm like, you are probably lying to yourself. Okay, I'm saying based on what I know from my family tree and based on what I got on the native, it's about right. So I don't know how people get very offended by these DNA tests. I'm saying if you don't have DNA in your DNA, that means there's probably a long, long time ago that you lost it. Okay, if you ever even had it. But I'll give a link to an article that I think would be more helpful on the type of DNA test that I took. Could be controversial for some people because there's a large denial on certain things in history about their family tree or history in overall. And I'll give a link to that. Also have a discussion going on in the Mexica history group I have on Facebook. So I'll also have a link in below. So if you guys do want to check that out. And if you guys have any more questions, don't I don't mind if you give me a comment in the comments. I'll give my best response, and I'll hopefully answer more of your questions. Okay. Anyway, I guess I'll talk to you later. Bye.